to the store, you picked up your starter decks, and you're ready to duel. But the question is what do you do? Where do you start? Especially with a game that's changed so much over the course of the past 25 years. You're not! By the end of this video, I hope that this will explain every mechanic you need to know so you can start your journey to become king of games. First things first, I want to go into the mechanic of summoning cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, back in the day, it was pretty simple. You would normal summon, you would tribute summon, ritual and fusion summon, and that's about it. However, the game's evolved over the course of the last 25 years, where now there's so many more ways to bring a monster on the field. Now you have link summoning, pendulum summoning, synchro summoning, so many different mechanics. Now, the first summon mechanic that I'm going to talk about today is called normal summoning. Now, it's very important to know that you only have one normal summon per turn, and you're limited to only summon cards from your hand that's between level 1 and level 4. In this case, Magician's Rod is level 3. We're going to go ahead and summon this card to the field. Now, notice the Dark Magician Girl is level 6, and I cannot summon her unless I tribute a monster first. That's what's called a tribute summon. I should also mention that tribute summoning is a form of normal summoning, so if you already normal summon that turn, you will not be able to tribute summon again. And also for tribute summoning, you will have requirements for level 5 to 6. You need 1 tribute. For level 7 plus, you need 2 tributes. And in some cases, some specific cards require more than 2 tributes, and that will always be listed on the card, so make sure you read every single card before you play it. Now, there's a whole other mechanic that can also vary from deck to deck. It's called special summoning, and this you can do as many times as possible, depending on how your deck actually functions. In this case, if I activate Magician's Souls, I can special summon this card right now by sending Dark Magician to the graveyard. And this does not take place in my normal summon that I can do per turn. As you can see, because now I have a monster in the field, I can actually tribute Magician's Souls and summon Dark Magician Girl to the field. And just so we're all on the same page, Ritual Summoning, Synchro Summoning, Xyz Summoning, Pendulum Summoning, and Link Summoning all fall under the Special Summon category. Now, the next mechanic I want to talk about is called Ritual Summoning, and Ritual Summoning is depicted by the blue cards available in your main deck. That's not to be confused by Link Summoning, which we'll talk about later. Now, in order to summon Illusion of Chaos, which is a ritual monster, I first need to have the ritual spell card in my hand known as Chaos Form. But I do want to mention that some cards allow you to ritual summon depending on the rules that are written. In this case, what we're going to summon Magician's Rod. And we're going to actually search for Seekers of Dark Magic. Now, we could also technically grab Chaos Form, but we'll grab Seekers of Dark Magic in this situation. As you can see, this card now lights up, and we can activate it. And by going to the second option, we can ritual summon Illusion of Chaos by simply dropping Dark Magician. Now, the key with ritual summoning is you have to have the same number of levels add up to the required monster you're summoning. In this case, we are summoning a level 7, and we are tributing from our hand a level 7, which in this case is Dark Magician. Now, fusion summoning is exactly how it sounds. You are literally fusing 2 more monsters to create a more powerful one. It is important to note that in order to fusion summon a monster from the extra deck, there are specific cards listed in order to create it. So, for example, if I want to summon a Master of Chaos, it specifically lists I have to use at least a Dark Magician plus a Chaos or Blackluster Soldier ritual monster. It's also important to note that in order to fusion summon a monster, you first need to have a specific spell that goes along with it. For example, Polymerization allows you to fuse 2 monsters from your hand or field to create the more powerful one. However, there's actually many different ways to summon these extra deck monsters. In this case, we're going to use the Eye of Timaeus to summon Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. Now, in order to do this, as you can see in the card, we actually have to have a Dark Magician on the field first, which you can't normal summon this because it requires 2 tributes. However, we do have Magician's Souls, so we're going to go ahead and activate this first and special summon Dark Magician straight from the deck. And now that Dark Magician is on the field, we are able to activate Eye of Timaeus and use Dark Magician as fusion material to make Dark Magician the Dragon Knight. The next summon mechanic to talk about is called Synchro Summoning, and these are depicted by the white cards available in your extra deck. Now, unlike Ritual and Fusion Summoning, you actually don't need a specific trap cards to bring these powerful cards out. You just need the monsters to add to the same level as the synchro monster you're trying to bring out. In this case, to summon Baronne de Fleur, we can actually use Ash Blossom in our hand, which is a level 3 tuner, and then we need to fill in the gap by finding a level 7 card that adds up to 10 to summon Baronne de Fleur, which we just happen to have. We have a level 7 Dark Magician, and we have a level 3 tuner Ash Blossom. Now you can't just outright, drop these cards from your hand and summon it. They have to be in the field. So we're gonna do first, we're gonna activate Magician's Souls to special summon Dark Magician to the field. And by using our one normal summon for the turn, we can summon Ash Blossom, and as you can see, Baronne de Fleur as well as the other 3 synchro cards all light up, and by choosing the tuner first and the Dark Magician, we can summon our almighty and powerful synchro card, Baronne de Fleur. As you might imagine, synchro cards are obviously a lot more powerful depending on the card you summon compared to your standard normal, tribute, and ritual summoning. In this case, Baronne allows me to actually stop my opponent's play. On top of that, I get to get a powerful monster out on the field to really put myself in an advantage over my opponent. The next summon mechanic is called Xyz Summoning, and this is depicted by the black cards available in your extra deck. Similar to Synchro Summoning, you're kind of going to be combining monsters in the field to create a more powerful one. However, in this case, you need to be monsters in the same level. For example, if you want to summon Ebon Illusion Magician, you first need to have 2 level 7 monsters on the field. The first thing we're going to do is activate Magician's Souls. We're going to summon Dark Magician using Magician's Souls. And now that the conditions are met, we can actually go into our extra deck and summon Ebon Illusion Magician by combining both of these monsters to make a more powerful one. Now, the next summon mechanic is called Pendulum Summoning, and this is where kind of things get a little bit wacky because these are spell cards, but also monsters. When you look at the Pendulum card, the top text actually refers to the spell aspect of it. So if you play this card as a spell card, this is the effect that you're activating, whereas the bottom refers to the monster effect. Now, in order to Pendulum Summon, you first need to create a Pendulum Scale, and to do that, you will activate a Pendulum monster in the furthest left side of the spell and trap zone, and then the furthest right side. Now, depending on what the scale is, you'll be able to summon as many cards possible from your hand, as long as they coincide with the numbers on the field. So in this case, if the pendulum scale is a 2 and the high number is an 8, you'll be able to summon every single monster from your hand that's between level 2 and level 8. And of course, at that point, you have all your monsters in the field and all the effects will activate, and then you'll be going to the next part of your combo to get one step closer to defeating your opponent. Now, the final summon mechanic to cover in today's video is known as Link Summoning, and for this, you'll be utilizing the blue cards available in your extra deck. Now, the first time you Link Summon a monster, you'll be utilizing what's called the Extra Monster Zone, which is the 2 squares available in the middle of the field. It's important to note that it's kind of like first come, first serve, so as long as both fields are open, you get to choose which one to summon to. Once you pick one, the other one is going to be left for your opponent. You can't just have both of them. Also, Link monsters will be utilizing the arrows, so if you have a monster in the Extra Monster Zone already, to summon another one, you'll have to summon to the field that that monster points to. As far as how Link Summon actually works, it's based on Link levels. So Link 1, for example, requires 1 monster. Link 2 requires 2, and Link 3 requires 3. Link 4, you get the picture. It's also important to point out that once a Link monster is on the field, you can actually utilize those levels for the next one. For example, let's say I have a Link 2 monster on the field already, and I have another monster. I can actually summon a Link 3 because the Link 2 counts as 2. Make sense? So our goal is going to be actually to summon Axis Code Talker, and the first thing we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to go ahead and summon Link Spider by using Dark Magician. And then we're going to go ahead and activate Eternal Soul to bring Dark Magician back. Now this will trigger Magician Salvation, which allows us to bring another body on board. And we're gonna bring back Dark Magician Girl. Now here's where it gets tricky. In order to get to our next level, we have to summon where the Link monster that's on the field already points to. So in this case, Link Spider's pointing down. If this zone was blocked off for some reason or unable to be played, we will not be able to go to the next Link. Unless of course we use Link Spider as material as well, in which case that would free up the extra monster zone. We're gonna go ahead and summon IP Masquerena using both of these monsters, and we'll put her right here. And now that we have a Link 2, and now if you look at Celine, the Queen of Master Magicians, she just requires 2 spellcasters, but you still have to get to Link 3. So we're gonna go ahead and use Celine, and she's gonna count as 2, and we're gonna summon Dark Magician. And notice that you have to summon her in this zone. As I mentioned, if this zone is locked off for whatever reason, you will not be able to go to the next step. Now our big goal is to summon Access Code Talker, who is a Link 4, and we can actually simply do that by just using Celine, which counts as 3, and Link Spider. And because it's a brand new Link, we'll be using either zone that's up to the player's choice. Access Code Talker will activate, and based on the Link used, we'll get a pretty powerful monsters on board. As you might assume, the whole point of Link Summoning is to get a pretty powerful monster on board. And now by activating Access Code Talker's ability, we can actually clear my opponent's board and do exactly what you want. In this case, that is to win. We'll go ahead and just use Timaeus, and I will tribute my Magician's Salvation. And now we have enough damage on board to win the game. We covered a lot in today's video, but the whole goal was to give you as much information as possible so you can further get better at the game and learn if this is your first time playing. I know it might kind of sound overwhelming at first, but again, I want to point out that I came back to Yu-Gi-Oh! With the release of Master Duel. Prior to that, I have not played the game in probably like 15 years, and I was able to get used to it pretty quickly. So it's not as scary as it looks, I promise. And honestly, you should have more than enough information right now to build your own deck and hop online and Master Duel, which again is available for free, and start dueling your opponents. So if you have any more questions, feel free to drop a comment down below. And in fact, we might even do more where we break down more advanced tactics in the future. That's of course if you guys want to see that. Let them know so they can bring me back.